Hello class, today we're going to talk about graphing. The first thing when I think of when I graph is going to the mall and going shopping, because a lot of times you'll stop by the map to see what stores you're around, but you have to know where you're at in order to get to them. Graphing is very similar to that because you have to know where you're starting and then you have to know how you're going to get to where you need to go. The first thing we're going to go over are the axes. This is called the x-axis because it goes left and right. And then next, this is called the y-axis and it goes up and down. Okay, next we're going to talk about quadrants. This is where the graph is divided into 4 sections. That's why it says quadrants. Okay, so first, this is going to be the first quadrant. Anything in this area is in the first quadrant. This is going to be the second quadrant. Anything in this whole area is going to be in the second. And then this is the third. And same thing, this whole area is the third quadrant. And this is the fourth. And you're going counterclockwise when you label those. Next, we are going to go through a few examples, but before we do that, this center right here in the middle, where the axes cross, that is 0.00, and we'll go over why it's 0.00 in a second, but that is called the origin. And so no matter where you're going on your graph, you're always going to start at that point, at the origin. Our first example we're going to go through is going to be 3, 4. Okay, the 3 is going to be our x coordinate, and the 4 is going to be our y coordinate. So, the first thing you always want to do is you want to see if any of these are negative, because that's going to kind of tell us where we're going to go. But our 3 is not negative. So, since our 3 is positive, we are going to go to the right. Like I said, we always start at our origin. So we're going to go 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3. But we're not going to mark it yet because that is not our final point. That's just telling us where we're going on our x-axis. Okay, now our y-coordinate is next, which is the 4. The 4 tells us where we're going to go on our y-axis, so that's going to be either up or down. Since it's positive, we're going to go up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we're going to mark it right here, and then we're going to label it so we know what point it is. 3, 4. Okay, so we labeled it and we marked it, and this point right here, since it's in this first section, it's going to be in the first quadrant. Our second example we're going to do is -2, 3. Okay, so there's a negative right here, so that's going to be different. Since it's negative, we're going to go to the left on the x-axis. 1, 2. So it's going to be right here, but we're not going to label it yet. Our 3, our y-coordinate, is positive, so we're going to go up. 1, 2, 3. That point is right here, and we're going to label it -2, 3. And that point is in our second quadrant because it's in that second section. Our third example we're going to do is -2, -4. Okay, now we have 2 negatives. This is our first one like this. So, since our x coordinate is negative, we're going to go to the left. And it's okay if you want to draw arrows whenever you're writing these down just to kind of remind you where you need to go. And our y coordinate is also negative. So we're going to go down on that one. Okay, so we're just going to start at our origin. And we're going to go 2 this way because our x coordinate is -2 and our y coordinate is -4. That means we're going to go down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. we're going to label it -2, -4. And that point is in our third quadrant. Okay, one last example we're going to do is 3, -5. So our x-coordinate is positive, so we're just going to go to the right, because right on the x-axis is positive. And then our y-coordinate is negative. And so when our y-coordinate's negative, we go down. If our y-coordinate was positive, we'd go up, but since it's negative, we're going to go down. We're going to start at our origin, and we're going to go 3 to the right on the x-axis, and then we're going to go -5 on the y-axis. And then we're going to label it 3, -5. And that point is going to be in our fourth quadrant because it's in our fourth section on the graph. Okay, so now you know how to graph. Just remember, just to review, there are 4 quadrants and they're counterclockwise. And so 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this origin point 0, 0 is always where you're going to start. So now you know how to graph. Like I said, this is kind of how shopping is, traveling is. You have to know where to start, and then you use your direction and it tells you where to go.